Before we get started, I'm just going to list all the reasons as to why what I'm about to do is wrong. Okay? Number one, what I'm about to do is wrong because I'm about to judge something that hasn't even come out yet. I'm about to point at all the reasons something is about to be bad, even though it hasn't come out yet. Okay? And I think that's not the way to go about things, right? I think you should at least give things a chance before you decide, and before you like decide that it's going to be trash, or before you throw it off to the side or discredit it, right? So that's one of the reasons that what I'm about to do is wrong. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the reasons why what I'm about to do is wrong. Another reason that what I'm about to do is wrong is because this is a legend. This is one of the greatest hip hop artists of all time. And I should appreciate what he's about to do. I should appreciate what's about to be released about this artist and their legacy and everything they provided to the game. Because if it wasn't for this artist, I probably wouldn't even have one of my favorite artists that I listen to today, because Snoop made a lot of things possible. Okay? As one of the greatest icons on the West Coast. All right? Another reason why what I'm about to do is wrong is because I think at the end of the day, there should be a level of respect for the elders, especially the people who pioneered or played a role in hip hop shaping and becoming what it is today, where, you know, it got to the point where it's the most consumed genre and all these different things. And certain artists, without certain artists, that's impossible. Okay? So that's another reason why what I'm about to do is wrong. All right. Now, with all that being said, all right, this is about to be the worst hip hop documentary in the history of hip hop documentaries. Ever. And I know that that's crazy to say, because All Eyes on Me, trash. Like, I think the way that they depicted Tupac in that movie, the way that they glossed over so many important factors that make Tupac what he was, like, it was such a surface level breakdown of Tupac and his legacy. Garbage movie. And there's plenty of other garbage hip hop documentaries, all right, or biopics. Not documentaries, biopics on some of our greatest legends in hip hop. Okay. Before I tell you why this is going to be the worst hip hop documentary ever, okay, let's read this first. Universal Partners, hold on, let's make sure it's close up. All right. Universal partners with Snoop Dogg's newly formed Death Row Pictures for biopic on iconic rapper Allen Hughes to direct. And what would be the first definitive biopic of the hip-hop star and pop culture icon, Universal Pictures is developing a film about the life of Snoop Dogg. The film marks the first project under Snoop's newly formed Death Row Pictures, with Allen Hughes on board to direct and Joe Robert Cole set to write the script. Snoop will produce along with Hughes and Sarah Remaker. I waited a long time to put this project together because I wanted to choose the right director, the perfect writer, and the greatest movie company I could partner with that can understand the legacy that I'm trying to portray on screen and the memory I'm trying to leave behind, said Snoop. It was the perfect marriage. It was holy matrimony, not holy macaroni. The pick marks the first film from Snoop Dogg's Death Row Pictures and will incorporate music from his massive catalog. The hip-hop legend purchased the Death Row brand at the beginning of the year for an undisclosed sum from MNRK Music Group, which is controlled by private equity group Blackstone. I wanted to be the CEO of Death Row Records and basically take over the merchandise and re-release their music, do documentaries, and possibly do my life story, he told GQ in December. Today's news makes good on one of these promises. Now, actually, let's read this part too. Snoop Dogg's life and legacy make him one of the most exciting and influential icons of popular culture. We met with Snoop shortly with the acquired Death Row Records and had the opportunity to hear his story in his own words. We are humbled to be able to create the lasting document of this singular artist. Universal was also behind one of the most successful hip-hop biopics ever with the Oscar-nominated NWA pick Straight Outta Compton, which blew away box office records for a musical biopic, grossing more than $200 million. Coincidentally, Snoop Dogg was featured in that film, given his ties to group co-founder Dr. Dre. Now, okay, it's time for us to keep it real here. Hold on. All right, we got to keep it real here. We got to keep it honest, okay? The main reason that this biopic is going to be terrible, all right, the main reason that I know for a fact that this biopic is going to be terrible, and I'm not saying it's going to be terrible from the aspect of the production, right? I'm sure the way it looks is going to be awesome. I'm sure the way it sounds is going to be awesome. I'm sure the aesthetic is going to be awesome. I'm sure it's going to take you back to the 90s. It's going to make you feel Snoop Dogg's legacy, and I'm not going to be shocked by that. I mean, NWA's biopic was good. It was fire. There were some things that, as we all know, were exaggerated or were conveniently left out or whatever, right? But that's essentially what you could assume. Some things were left in there to make certain people look better in certain situations. And it is what it is, right? The reason why this is going to be terrible is because of who it's about. And how much he's going to be involved in it. Snoop Dogg has a overwhelming history of exaggerating stories, of leaving key evidence out of stories, of adding his own perspective and it becoming like a whole brand new story because of his perspective. Snoop Dogg is the guy that, and this is with all due respect to one of our legends, but Snoop Dogg is the guy that is going to tell you a story, and then when you hear 15 other people tell the story, it sounds nothing like the way he told it. I.e., the situation with Nas and Pac, right? When they met in New York. Everybody else tells that story a certain way, and Snoop Dogg tells it a whole different way. And a lot of the times, the way Snoop Dogg tells these stories is to embellish his own image in that time. I think Snoop Dogg is extremely aware of how narrative dictates legacy, right? I think even when we look at everything that's going on today, it's a lot of, specifically, you know, with the Drake and Kendrick thing or whatever, right? It's a lot of narratives being pushed in order to tell the next generation about the legacy. It's no different than, you know, and I'm not saying that Snoop Dogg is Christopher Columbus or Snoop Dogg is any of these guys. I don't take that the wrong way. But it's no different than Christopher Columbus doing a certain thing and then to the Indians and to the Aboriginals and all that different stuff, and then in our history books it tells you a completely different story. It's no different than all these different things that happen over time in history that they tell you in school, but then when you actually go do your independent research, you find out it was nothing like that. Right? I'm not saying I'm not comparing Snoop Dogg to that, but I am comparing the level of storytelling to that. The people who survive these situations, the people with the most influence who get to survive these situations, get to dictate the stories. And I think it's messed up because when you're not telling these stories accurately, or when you're only telling these stories to embellish your own personal character, you're also diluting the legacies of the other guys, right? And you're creating images of the other guys in certain ways that does not accurately represent who they are. And a lot of that could be coming from ill intention. I think back to when, even recently, when Snoop Dogg had AI Tupac congratulating him for certain shit that like Tupac probably would never congratulate him for, like that. It was just certain stuff where it was like, bro, at the end of his life, y'all was not cool. And Snoop Dogg continues to sell the idea that they was just the best of friends and that it was in all this different stuff. But then when you hear the stories from people who were close to Tupac, when you listen to, you know what I'm saying? Like, that wasn't the case. You see what I'm saying? So when you look at it from that perspective, how the hell are we supposed to get anywhere near an accurate depiction of the way things took place from Snoop Dogg's perspective? How? This movie is going to be some of the most embellishing, fabricated stories, diminishing characters of individuals that he claims he loves, but his action shows otherwise. I am not excited for the depiction of Tupac. I am not excited for how Tupac is going to be painted in the moments of tension between him and Tupac. I am not excited for that. The same way the Notorious movie painted Tupac. The same way even All Eyes on Me painted Tupac, like, and painted some of these stories, like, and other artists in the situations. I feel like Snoop Dogg in this documentary is going to be given a lot more credit than he actually deserves for a lot of things. And that's not to say that I feel a certain, like, bro, Snoop Dogg is a legend, bro. So I know there's going to be a lot of people in the comments and probably even content creators talking about how, oh, you don't know this, you don't know that, and all this different stuff. I'm just giving you my personal perspective, and I'm standing on it, bro. I believe that this is going to be arguably the worst biopic in hip-hop history, because there's going to be a majority of lies, embellished stories, and exaggeration. That's what it's going to come down to, bro. So when I look at it from that perspective, it's like, I don't know how I can get excited for this. You can bet your bottom dollar I'm going to go see it. You can bet your bottom dollar I'm going to go see it. Right? Of course I'm going to go watch it. No doubt. But I guarantee you I'm going to walk away from that movie. And I want y'all. And what's this going to be in 2027? In 2027, when I go watch this movie and I come back to tell y'all what I think about this damn movie, I promise you, we're going to come back to this video and it's going to be, damn, that's exactly what he ended up experiencing going to watch the damn movie. How much you want to bet? If Snoop Dogg is not going to tell the real story in an interview, what makes you think he's going to tell the real stories in a goddamn movie? If you're going to go as far as to use AI Tupac to embellish yourself, there's no telling what this documentary is going to say, what this documentary is going to do, bro. We just got to call it for what it is. We got to call it for what it is. From Snoop playing both sides in certain situations, playing the fence in certain situations, endorsing the use of Tupac's voice and his own voice in diss tracks, going at the West Coast and going at Kendrick Lamar by Drake. There's so many different situations that point to this that, like, it's just like, there's no way possible that you can genuinely think that this is what's going to take place, bro. And it's going to be an honest depiction of anything that happened. Of anything that happened. If you've been paying attention to anything that Snoop been doing and anything that Snoop been talking about, all these different people, and I'm not, look, this is my thing. I'm not one of those people that think, oh, just because somebody know you when they say something that is true. I'm not one of them people, because I know how envious people get when you shine and they don't shine and they want to find a way to take that from you. I know how people act when it comes to that. So I'm not one of the people that say, oh, this celebrity has people from their past saying these things about them, so therefore it's true. No, that has to be coordinated with things that have already happened, with things that already align, boom, boom, for me to even have an assumption of it being a fact, right? So don't think I'm going to use what people have been saying as fact against Snoop Dogg. However, I do believe the people that say that Snoop Dogg is a guy who is going to embellish stories. A guy, because there's so much documentation of this. I'm going to go as far as to say that this biopic might be dangerous. I'm going to say that this damn documentary this biopic might go as far as being dangerous. Dangerous for the overall narrative of the legacy of Death Row, of whatever, of Left Behind. Like, bro, Snoop wasn't rocking with Suge. Snoop wasn't rocking with, like, bro, there's no telling what's going to be shown in this damn documentary, bro. None. What other points do I have? I think that might be it. But honestly, yeah, I just can't. I have no faith in hip hop documentary, hip hop biopics as it is. You know what I'm saying? Straight Outta Compton was good, but when I talk to people, I hear a whole lot about people talking about like, yeah, some stuff was left out conveniently, some stuff was embellished, some stuff wasn't honest about Dre's position in certain situations and all this different stuff. And that's the part that I hate, because the victors, the people who survive, the people, they get to tell the story in favor of themselves and not in favor of the truth. And that's the part that I hate. That's the part that I genuinely hate. And that's why I have no faith in some of these biopics, because there's going to be embellishing. And nobody yet, not a single biopic that's come out about a hip hop artist yet, is as documented and as somebody twisting stories and embellishing stories as Snoop Doggy motherfucking Dogg. Now, I am excited for all the real shit. I'm excited for all the real stories. I'm excited to learn about Snoop Dogg's, you know what I'm saying, and his process and everything that's came into the makings of Doggy and all this different stuff. I'm excited to see that in motion picture form. I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see how the ins and outs of how it made, you know, to be taken to that moment through film. I'm excited for that. I am not excited for the key points and the key stories that we all know we're going to see in this damn movie. Specifically the ones surrounding Tupac. Specifically the story surrounding Death Row. Snoop Dogg is going to paint himself as an angel who just happened to be on death row, who was trying to boom and was trying to do his best to, hey, everybody, I can see it already. Snoop Dogg gonna act like he was Snoop Lion all the way back in the 90s. I'm telling you, I'm not excited for this, bro. Outside of the shit I just said I was excited about. But anyway, hey, man. Like, comment, subscribe, especially if you're new here, especially if you've been here, you feel what I'm saying? Hey, I hate to be the person that's going to say this about the documentary. And like I said, I know what I'm doing is wrong, but goddamn it, I got to do it. I got to do it anyway. I have to. I have to, bro. I have to. It's too much evidence of Snoop Dogg and documentation of Snoop Dogg, embellishing stories, etc. I just can't. I have to. You feel what I'm saying? Hope, no disrespect to Snoop Dogg at all. These are all facts I'm speaking on. I'm not calling Snoop out of his name. I'm not calling Snoop nothing crazy. And this is my perspective. You feel what I'm saying? And whatever come with that is what come with that. That's just my personal perspective. However, content creators or fans or whatever feel about that, so be it. But this is my personal opinion, and I'm standing on it. Period. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, like, comment, subscribe, especially if you're new, especially if you've been here. Check out the Patreon. You feel what I'm saying? The Black Album reaction is out for the people that's been asking. It's been out for about a week or some change. I think Kingdom Come is the album that comes after that, which this is where I start to know Jay-Z's catalog. Kingdom Come Forward, right? So, yeah, man. I'm not excited for this, man. How do y'all feel about it? Y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Do y'all think this is going to be a genuine biopic with genuine information and genuine perspective? Like, let me know in the comments. Let me know if I'm tripping. Let me know if I'm going too far. I just feel like at this point, everybody's got to be aware of what's going on here. Everybody's got to be aware of what is taking place here and what's about to take place here, bro. You got to be aware of that. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, like, comment, subscribe, especially if you're new, especially if you've been here. Tap in with the Patreon. Put the Patreon link in the description. Put the Patreon on the card. You feel what I'm saying? More content coming. We back in regular schedule programming. You feel me? Appreciate everybody that's excited for the battle to drop. As soon as I know when the battle's gonna drop, I'm gonna let y'all know. Shout out to everybody that's been telling me I need to drop some music. You feel what I'm saying? It's gonna be a great second half of the year, man. And I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Super grateful to be here as a content creator. Super grateful to have y'all as an audience. You feel what I'm saying? And yeah, man, I'm gonna catch y'all, bro. Y'all have a great day.